What was your best comeback line that left the other person totally speechless? My mother. Your son is so much better behaved than you were as a child. You were horrible. Me. Probably, because my son has better parents. You son of a bitch. Not my quote, but I was with a buddy of mine who was known to be sort of a loose cannon. We're drinking at the bowling alley and there is a family next to us and the men are wearing turbans. My friend is of Mexican descent, and at this point he's had his fair share of beers. He turns to look at one of the men wearing the turban and he says, "Hey, why do you wear that towel around your head?" And without skipping a beat, the other man shoots right back with a, "To wipe the wet off your back." I've never seen my friend look more stunned. Even drunk, he knew that he had just been defeated. We left shortly after this. Seek comeback bro. My friend has leukemia and had to undergo chemo a year ago, and it was very apparent that he was doing it. Anyways, he was arguing with someone and ended the argument by saying, "Wow, that comeback was so bad it gave me cancer." This is the only situation where I can imagine having leukemia to be a good thing. One, we have X. No. But I have cancer. Did I mention I have cancer? Back in the late 60s I had very long hair and wore the flowery stuff that was the fashion. No onion in my belt though. Anyway, I was dating this girl whose mum hated me. After a snotty exchange I asked her what her problem with me was and she said, "I think you are effeminate." I replied, "Compared to you I guess I am." What are you? President of the Pedantic Society? Vice President. Actually, I googled pedantic and I think I almost get it. Brother, our parents' biological child, was talking about how he was the favorite child. My response: "Well, they picked me, got stuck with you." He had nothing left to say. LOL. My adopted sister used that on me once. Being the big brother, and thus obligated to have an immediate comeback, I said, "Yeah, but have you seen the other choices they've made with their lives?" She never used that line again. My only brother. You're retarded. Me. Hey, that's offensive. My brother is retarded. It took him a moment to get it. I thought it was pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to steal that one. Wish I could step one acquire brother. Twist. Both of you are actually retarded. That's entirely possible. I was 8 or 9 at the time. My mother and I had to pay a brief visit to my biological father's mother. My biological father refused to pay child support for years. However, once in a while he would send money to his mum, so my mum and I had to travel for 4 hours to get it. Money was tight, so we just had to deal with it and he knew it. It was one of his ways of trying to humiliate us, which was ridiculous. Because regardless of our financial hardship, mum still raised me and took care of both of us and supported my grandparents all on her income only. In Eastern Europe during some of the worst economic times. This witch had been poisoning my mom's life from way before she divorced my biological father. Her favorite was treating my mother like a piece of it throughout her pregnancy and afterwards, and telling her how it's okay I'm not my father's daughter and that him and his family would still take care of the bastard, me. Honestly, I wish we weren't related by blood, but neither of us stands a chance. So, my mum and I are sitting at a table, and this witch pulls out a couple of big bills and gives them to me, telling me how generous she is to spare some for me. I looked her square in the eye and said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't take money from a stranger." The look on her face was priceless. Mum got me ice cream on the way back. Doesn't that have extra oomph since she's from Eastern Europe and family staying together is a much bigger deal in the East? Yes, definitely. What I've always found striking about the situation is the degree to which all of my biological father's family and him went out of their way to make our lives it here. Blood ties are a big deal, so all of what was going on was quite out of the ordinary. It's not that rare to see ex-partners of any sort being bastards to each other, as everywhere really, but denouncing a child in this was a very cultural thing. To this day I can't fully wrap my head around it. And of course on the level of the response the witch got. That was extra sweet too. It's funny to think about it, but at least in my experience kids know, process, judge decently more about adult relationships than one would expect. Planning to split a hotel with my girlfriend and sister. Told my sis, "You know what the sock on the door means, right?" She said, "Yeah, that you need alone time while I go shopping with your GF." I responded, "Well, at least buy me socks." She said, "I'll be sure to stop by the Baby Gap." Burn. Bro, that's a lot of sexual tension between you and your sister. Today I learned when fapping, place sock on door. One on each knob. That's why they come in pair. Reddit. The doorknob and your own. Reddit, ladies and gentlemen. Awkward 7th grader. First day at new school with no friends. Jackass on playground. What's the capital of China? Me. Beijing. Jop. Nope. It's Bangkok. Goes to slap my crotch. I block his move. Slap him on the face. Me. Bangkok is the capital of Thailand. You jackass. Please don't touch my peanuts. Everyone around laughed hard. So many friends. My finest moment. Where did you go that 7th graders still had playground time? It was during exams and someone thought it would be funny to shout, "Peanuts," as he did. The teacher turned around and just replied, "Please keep your fantasies to yourself." I read that in Professor Snape's voice. Got a text from my ex the other day. "Ex, you can delete my number from your phone, I honestly don't care anymore." Me, who is this? Or, yes. I was at the bank cashing a check I had received from helping tile a neighbor's house. The neighbor liked to go to a lot of strip clubs, and being from a small town the bank teller knew him, and evidently that fact. She looked at me, smiled, and asked if I wanted the check in once, so that I could go out later. Insinuating frequenting a strip club. Without missing a beat I replied, "Only if you'll be there." She blushed and everyone laughed. The teller handed me my money, flustered and speechless. "Well, did she hand you it in ones?" "Nah, she just stuffed it right into her G-string." Great story. Out of curiosity, was she stripper material? She was a real cute Asian lady. Kind of thick and curvy. I would have hit it. LOL. Thought of another one that I didn't say. So I was walking through Spain in a smallish town. It was a hot day and people were wandering through the streets. There were 2 English tourists stood on their balcony overhanging the streets. They shouted to these 2 fit-looking Spanish girls and started singing the Queen song. "We are the champions. We are the champions." One of the hot girls turns and shouts, "No time for losers." It was a glorious moment. I was giving an oral presentation in French class in high school and got heckled by 2 classmates in particular. As I finished to sit down, annoyed. Him. "Good oral. Itch. Me. Yeah, too bad the only good oral you can give is to other classmate." Even the teacher couldn't keep herself together. Freaking Sean and Anthony, man. My grandma. "You're such a big baby." Me. "I'm not the one wearing diapers." Rip grandma. I don't see how killing your grandma counts as a comeback, but I get the punchline. If you ask me, it's the ultimate comeback. The final comeback. Smiley face. D. Sad face. My religious grandma. All these kids today with their long hair. Men should keep their hair short. Me grandma. Jesus had long hair. And if your grandma was around then she would have thought Jesus was a troublemaking little brat. But he was. Flipping tables and it. Guy was a punk. A fat girl in high school used to always give me a hard time. I slimmed down one summer from a growth spurt, and when she passed me in the hallway she smiled, shouted in mock enthusiasm, "Hey, have you lost weight?" Reflecting back her mock enthusiasm, I smiled and shouted, "Hey, have you found it?" She never spoke to me again. A fat guy in high school used to taunt me on the bus asking if I used whiteout for makeup and whatnot. Finally, after ignoring him for a while, he says, "Don't you get hot under of those layers of black, goth girl?" I turned around to face him and said, "Don't you get hot under all those layers of fat?" Never bothered me again. Yeah, sticks and stones. You can't say anything to me that I haven't heard before. I bet I can. I love you. Once when my brother and I were kids, we got into one of those screaming, wrestling matches, fist fights that only siblings can. I was so fed up with my brother and screamed, "I freaking hate you." To which he replied oh so sincerely, "But I love you." It really broke my anger, and we ended up laughing. One of the best comebacks from left field. Not super proud of this, but it did shut the guy up. I deservedly got punched in the nose in middle school for making fun of a kid and was ridiculed by other kids because I was crying after it happened. For the next few years, another kid always teased me about it. He would always ask how my nose was and all I would ever mutter was a frick you or something equivalent. Well, in 10th grade his mother had passed away and he was gone for a few weeks to deal with it. One of the days he came back, I walked past him on the stairs and he asked his usual question. "Hey new green, how's your nose?" I guess I finally had enough and snapped back at him with, "Hey, how's your mom?" He never talked to me again. I feel terrible about it, but he kind of had it coming. Dead mum. You actually probably helped him learn a valuable life lesson. Don't insult people when your mum just died. This advice means a lot to me. Those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Don't leave us hanging here. How was his dead mom?